All right, howdy y'all. For the next video on the channel, I thought, it might be kind of fun to share some information about my first iron butt, which I've not yet done, but I am thinking about doing it here in just a week or so. If you're not familiar, an iron butt ride on the motorcycle is a ride in which you cover a minimum of 1,000 miles in 24 hours or less. And I thought I'd share with you some of the research I've been doing, what my plan looks like so far, my packing list, and some of the tools that I think I'm going to use to complete this journey. I think it'll be worthwhile. I plan to create a series of short videos to help share the experience, the wisdom I'm learning on the way, and maybe pick up some tips from those of you more experienced than myself. We'll build out a full playlist, and you all can follow along. All right, so as you can see, there are a number of popular certifications from the Iron Butt Association. This is just a small sample of them. I'm personally am planning on the Saddle Sore 1000 for this journey, but like I said, lots of options to choose from. So what's involved in completing an iron butt? Well, first, few disclaimers. This would be my first iron butt, and I do expect I'll make some mistakes. Like I said before, if you've done it before, you see a major or even a minor oversight, throw that in the comments. Let me know, help me out. This video is also based on information that I researched on or around the 19th of March of 2023. So if you're looking at this into the future, you might want to check out the website. I've got a link there that you can just type into your URL, and it'll give you the current intel on what it takes. From everything that I've looked at, look, the process actually looks relatively simple. Plan a safe route. Plan a route that you don't have to use excessive speed in order to complete. You track your journey with photos, create a stop log, then you pick your certification package that you're looking for, calculate your fees, and submit all of your info. It really is that simple. There's a lot more that goes on behind the scenes though. So some tips from the website that I found: you do need to document your fuel stops, even if you have a large capacity fuel tank. You need to stop at least every 350 miles so that they can validate the journey that you're on. Included in the documentation, you'll want to just take a photo of that fuel receipt next to your odometer, and that both starts and stops the official clock running. So that's really critical, especially that first and last stop that you make. You also want that stop log that I talked about. Got some very basic information that you fill out. There's a template on the website. That's what I plan to use for this ride. And then they ask that when you submit your information, electronic submissions are preferred for probably obvious reasons. So let's talk about my first planned iron butt. I have a couple of route options planned, and there's some key points that I'm taking into account. The reason why I have two route options is largely because there's two weather systems that are going to be coming up near Minneapolis around my days of departure. One looks like it's going to kind of slide off to the north of us just a bit, the other to the south and east. And so I've got a couple routes. But look, at the end of the day, the one thing I know about this trip, I'm going to get wet. There is just absolutely no getting around it. So I'm going to be watching the routes and really the temperatures most closely because I won't risk departing with snow, freezing rain, or freezing temperatures in the forecast that could create undrivable conditions on two wheels. Both routes are just over the 1,000-mile threshold. And look, worst case scenario, I do have a hold on a small enclosed motorcycle trailer, and I can always trailer my bike further south and then just adjust my route accordingly. That way I can make sure I still cross that 1,000-mile threshold. I do plan to stop about every 200 miles, probably to grab a little bit of food, a snack, some fuel, hydration, which is going to be important on any long trip, and just be able to get up out of the saddle and stretch my legs a bit. So I am planning on allowing about 20 minutes per stop. And as you can see, I'll have plenty of time for longer stops if and as needed. And I'll also have time to be able to stop and sleep for a couple of hours if I'm just getting too tired to travel safely. So I'm going to be updating family and friends at each stop, taking care of my documentation for the Iron Butt, and hopefully doing a quick video along the way so you can ride along with me. All you have to do is like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that you get notifications as I post more videos along the way. All right, so as I mentioned, the weather it's just a wild card, and I can't control it, and I won't fight it too much. Daytime temps on the 22nd look to be in the upper 30s, which should be fine. And I've actually ridden in colder weather than that in the past, just in the fall, not in the spring. And since my route is taking me south, as I mentioned before, I don't have to get that far before the temps should start climbing up into the mid 40s, maybe even the low 50s along the route. So that won't be too bad at all. Um, I said it before, I have a trailer on standby, and frankly, I'm not too proud to use it. I'm meeting a small group of good buddies in Dalton, Georgia, and then we're going to be riding around the Great Smoky Mountains for several days before I head back. And as they've been reminding me, really, the journey doesn't matter if you don't arrive alive. And so that is the plan. I've got a large enough window and flexibility on my departure date and my return date. So I just don't have to risk it. And look, if it works to get the Iron Button this trip, great. And worst case scenario, I've got a plan. I'll just ride it later this summer. So that's the way I'm kind of going into this, just keeping an open mind and my options open. All right, so here's the packing list that I've got so far. It's not too crazy. I'm sure I'm probably missing something. So if you've done any long ride touring on motorcycles, whether it's Iron Butt qualified or not, what would you add to my list? I hope you'll take some time and share some wisdom in the comments section. I would love to learn from you and maybe avoid a couple mistakes along the way. That's what I've got so far. All right, so as I mentioned before, I'm going to create a little series of videos. I also want to do some product reviews based on some of the equipment that I bought either for this or I have had that I think is going to help make this successful. I had my motorcycle in to have a tune-up. Ended up putting new tires on it, so we'll talk about that. Talk about the weather system that I've got outside my home that I've been using. Got a nice big water bottle that I plan to take with for those hydration stops. A cool little handheld air compressor, and you might not be able to see it. My video might be covering it up, but I've got it's called a brake-free helmet-mounted brake light. That's pretty cool and adds a ton of visibility. So that's the plan for now. Stay tuned. More to come shortly.